We're back.
We're back.
Back in the Good Grief studio. Episode 4.
Wow.
Crazy. Just want to give a shout out first and foremost to everyone who's listened so far, because it's been pretty crazy. 100 downloads and streams so far.
That's really good. Sometimes I just think we are just talking for the sake of it. With
Yeah.
a microphone, and it's great because, I enjoy our chats. It's brilliant.
It's great fun. Also, just to add, this week we're both don't know what to do with our hands.
Yeah, because we normally have these.
Yeah, we've got a stand. I'm like, but yeah, episode 4. Thanks for tuning in again, everyone. Appreciate it. Today's episode is on how to support someone who is grieving, which I don't know, I feel like it's quite a natural segue from last week.
Yeah.
We obviously spoke about triggers. So, yeah, I think this will be a good episode that might answer a lot of questions for people. We've also done another Q&A element, which we got a lot of good feedback about last week. So we'll probably continue that forward. So, yeah, let's jump straight in, I guess.
Let's do it.
So, our first kind of thing was talking about should we start from the beginning?
Yeah.
And say, how do you like to be supported, and how do you think people who are grieving benefit from being supported?
Me personally, I prefer, it's really weird, every other aspect of my life, I prefer like a really hands-on sort of support. But I think with grief, because every single person's story is so unique, you know the people that will get it, and the people that get it, unfortunately. The people that don't, unfortunately. And I mean, I think that I normally feel a bit isolated naturally when I'm dealing with probably feelings of grief, because no one's lost my dad. You know, I've lost him. So I like to be more sort of I isolate myself, I guess. So I like more of a hands-off approach, like a chat, a walk. I don't want to be smothered with hugs and, you know, trying to find answers. I don't want to hear things that might make me feel better, you know, like, oh, time's a healer. That's a great one. I mean, it is kind of, but I don't want to hear it. So yeah, what about yourself?
I think like the main thing is, we were talking earlier about, I guess, people who are a friend, family member, or kind of anyone who is supporting someone who is grieving. The first thing that you need to understand is as morbid as it sounds, that person is going to permanently change.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to be the person they once were.
Mm-hmm.
There will definitely be attributes of them. Like, I don't want to say I've completely lost myself, because I know I haven't. However, I am not the same person I was before. And it's almost like your life is split in two halves.
Yeah, totally.
You've got the time when they were here,
Mm-hmm.
and the time after.
Mm-hmm.
And that is such a prominent divide, I think.
Well, you learn so much more about yourself, and you emotionally mature in a way that you never thought you'd have to do. You just do it automatically. You have to. It's the only way you kind of get through it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And a big thing for people that are supporting you, and, you know, you do feel for that person, is that they're kind of grieving the old you as well. So, you know, you have to... It's a really fine line between being a good support and also being a good support to yourself as well. You know, we want the person that's grieving to feel supported, but equally we want the person that's supporting the grieving person to feel supported, because it's a tough journey. You don't want to see the person that you love the most in the world, a friend, going through the hardest time of their lives and, you know, changing in a way that can't be helped. It's pretty brutal.
I guess in those early days, like when someone has just passed, and obviously when I say early days, grief, this is one thing to remember. There's no time on grief. You cannot put time on grief.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that I don't know, like, I think there's always an expectation that you're meant to kind of not get over it, but start to heal and start to move on after a certain period of time, whether that be a year, 5 years, 10 years. However, I know people who have lost husbands, friends, parents, yourself included, that you are on a longer journey or at a different time than myself, but it still is as raw as it was when it first happened. So I think the first thing is, don't try and think of any time aspects in relation to grief, because it is not linear at all. It is so up and down. The other thing is, when it first happens, or in those first few months, that person is so consumed by the loss that they have not got any space or capacity to think about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Vince first died, some of my friends tried to distract me by being like, oh, listen to this gossip, or have you heard this, or, you know, and tried to kind of distract me from what was going on, and fill me with drama and things like that. And I was just like, I can't even take that in right now. Like, I can't even think about anything else. And there's an element where your friends do try and cheer you up, but just remember that person only has space for what they're going through. And that sounds cold-hearted, because you equally might be going through something, but you just need to give them the space in that at that time.
I think the understanding of that only comes with open communication, because until you understand the magnitude of the feeling that, you know, the feelings that the person you're supporting is going through, you're never going to be able to say the right things. I think that, like, I know this, I mean, I'm just saying, like, we've lost parents, people lose grandparents, and, like, I can't say that me losing my dad was harder than someone losing their grandparent, because that grandparent might have been their parental figure, a huge part of their life.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just about really getting to know the person and who they've lost. And if you don't know, it's probably best not to say anything. So some of the best, you know, pieces of support I've had is when people just openly say, look, I don't know what to say to you, but you're in my thoughts. And that means more to me than someone saying, like, oh God, like, I remember how I felt when I lost my granddad, and or when I lost my dad, and I think, I'm so sorry that you lost your dad, but with all due respect, like, I can't think of anything but my own problems right now.
Yeah.
And as you said, it sounds horrible, and I've said it in other episodes, I'm always saying it, be selfish, because it's true. It's the one real time in your life that you really have to just clamp down, and the people that are there for you and understand, they'll just get it. And sometimes you won't be the person you want to be. Sometimes you will be sort of, I don't want to say an uglier version of yourself. You're not the version of yourself you want to be, and you're not the version of yourself that your friends want you to be. But that's part of friendship. There's ups and downs, the same as relationships. Like, everyone wants to be happy and buzzing. Let's go out, let's do this, you know, let's laugh. But, you know, life isn't like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well, like, people who are grieving, you learn, usually in the early days, I would say, who your friends are and who they aren't. So I quickly learned that I'm so blessed to have so many amazing supportive people around me. My friends, my family, all were amazing, and people I went to school with that I haven't spoken to in years were reaching out. So a girl from school, who I've known throughout my whole life, bless her, I haven't spoken to her in literally 8+ years, and she bought me a star for Vince and sent it to me. Sent me the certificate, because he was a big part of her life growing up, because we used to be such good friends back in the day. And, like, that for me was like, whoa, that's amazing. And it spoke volumes to the people who didn't message, didn't check in, just went silent. And I think silence is loud when you're first grieving, and you feel gratitude for the people who are surrounding you. And you know, you're not expecting loads, you're just kind of expecting people to show up a little bit, because especially for, you know, someone where, if you felt like you've showed up for your friends, and some of the friends that I feel like I kind of have lost touch with, I felt like I was a good friend in their life, and I was there for them during hard times. And so when they didn't message or they didn't check in, it was like, okay.
It's just pain on top of pain.
It is.
And I think, as you said, with the silence thing, like, silence is never the answer with a grieving friend.
Yeah.
You know, it's the worst and hardest topic to talk about. You really don't, like, before I lost my dad, like, you know, you see people, like, lose people, and you'll comment, like, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. But, like, apart from that, I remember thinking, like, what the hell do I say to them? Because you walk on eggshells. You're like, I'm going to upset you, and I know you're going through a rubbish time, and your natural reaction is either to just stand back and think, I've done my bit, but you have to send a message, at least. I mean, you know, looking back, you know, as you said, like, the silence is so staggeringly loud, and the person that's grieving, don't think that they're so preoccupied that they won't notice it.
Yeah.
Because the smallest of things, like, just mean so much. Like, most of the things that I remember were the smallest gestures.
Absolutely. I mean, that the girl who got me the star is like a special cause. I mean, I was honestly blown away with that. But that's not the expectation by any means. And you don't have the words. And I was the same before losing Vince. I didn't know what to say,
No.
but just send a message and say, thinking of you.
Yeah.
Send a heart. You don't have to, if you haven't got the words, you don't have to try and, think of something to try and get across to them. Just send them a message and say, here if you need, because that's all they need. The other thing I've found is, I guess I'm now 5 months, well, it was 6 months, in a couple of weeks into my loss with Vince, and I've started to see people check in less. And again, it's not, I don't know, it's a really hard topic to talk about, because it's like, I don't expect everyone to be checking in all the time, because I know people have their own lives. I know people have got their own problems. Like, we've all got shit going on. But I just think it shows up those people who do check in every now and then, see how you're doing. Or some friends kind of, again, expect you to just be over it now. And it's just quite interesting when you get to that stage, I think.
Well, it's what we were saying about the people that get it, and the people that don't. And it doesn't mean that you have to go through grief to get it. You can just learn to understand. Like, most people have friends that have a unique situation, whether it's a trauma, whether it's like, I don't know, a person that they don't like a fragile relationship, a family problem. We all get on a level to understand them, to make their life a little bit easier when they're around us. And grief has to be the same. Like, there's no better way of showing your commitment to being a friend to someone than understanding. Like, you shouldn't have to ask for it. And I do think, we're sitting here on a grief podcast, so we might as well say it as it is. Like, it doesn't take a lot to send a line message. You can literally just say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
If you don't want to bring up the person, you can say, how's things? Like, you don't have to go, Maisie, how are you since Vince died? Like, you don't have to say that.
Yeah.
But everything is so appreciated. Like, it's just I do also think, like, saying that people that are going to be supporting are like, I don't want anyone to die, because I'm going to say something crazy. But I mean, like, I also think there's a very fine line with communicating your support for people. I said it earlier, but comparisons are so harmful. And admittedly, I still remember to this day, I don't even think I've spoken to you about it, so here's an exclusive. I still remember the first time you phoned me after it happened, and I said to you, Maze, I promise it'll get better. And I remember saying it, and I was like, why did I just say that?
I don't remember it, to be fair.
Well, exactly. But it hasn't, I wouldn't say it's been eating me up, but I remember just thinking, like, oh my God, I would have hated someone to say that to me. But I remember thinking, it's the only thing that I could grasp that might help. Because all you naturally say is, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Or, you're going to be okay. And in that moment, it's like, am I? I don't want to know if I'm going to be okay. Right now, I just want to be sad.
Well, the only thing you can see is, like, how do I move forward?
Well,
like,
exactly.
And when people say it will get better, and I don't remember that at all, so don't worry about it. You've been more than a good friend. You don't have to apologise. But,
I do.
But I think, like, in that moment, people just can't see forward.
No.
What I've found is the best things to do. Like, for example, when my mum first lost Vince, they'd been together for 18 years, knew each other at the school, real, just personified what love should look like. I remember going, the first few weeks thinking, what the hell do I say? What the hell do I do? I felt her pain so significantly. And that's one thing as well that we haven't really mentioned, but you not only feel your own grief, but you feel the grief of the others around you. Sometimes thinking about my mum or Oscar or, Vince's family, like, I feel just as much pain than I do for thinking about my own kind of loss with him, because I think about Oski growing up with, out a dad, and that honestly breaks my heart. Like, so I think you carry other people's pain. But yeah, when with my mum, I just used to sit there in silence and just let her talk to me, because I think that's a really important thing. You just need to sit and listen and let that person say what they need to say. And sometimes they don't want to say anything, and it feels awkward, but you sometimes just sit in silence. But don't always feel you have to fill the space with talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Because also, it's so easy to overtalk. I've done it myself. I do it quite often. Like, I'll probably do it daily, to be fair. When you're just trying to support someone, say the right thing, and then you're like, why am I still running my mouth? Like, I really need to stop. And then you're like, oops, I said the wrong thing. Got to backtrack. It can get really messy. So yeah, you're right. Just I think also with grief and like grieving is when you're talking to someone you're comfortable with, the silence is actually quite it's quite significant in the sense that it shows your comfort. I don't think you'd be silent in front of someone that you weren't sort of really close with, and I think sometimes just that company is more than enough. Just knowing that someone's there, and then I mean sometimes when I'm struggling and me and Jam are just sitting together and we go silent for a bit, and I'll just go, "You all right?" And she knows I'm sort of out of it, but she also knows that without her sitting there, I probably wouldn't be feeling okay. So yeah, sometimes just physical comfort is nice without even like, you don't have to give people a hug. Like for me, I just get mortified. I know my mum was exactly the same. Like my mum was like, after my dad passed away, she was just, people used to come up to her and hug her and be like, "I'm so sorry," and she'd be like, "Again." Like another one again, and it would always upset her. And like I remember she told me that like once she was walking down the street and like people crossed the road because they didn't want to deal with it, and like she was just like, it's just crazy, isn't it? And I get it. I get it. It's the most awkward thing to have to try and deal with, but
I think that's worth a shout out actually, because we talk about us as grievers, but huge respect to the people surrounding us, whoever's grieving. If you're lucky to have a supportive network, whether it be family, friends, whoever, work, school, whatever it is, creds to those people, because it's a really hard position to be in. Not only do you feel an element of grief, you might have known the person in some capacity that died, or, that you don't see anymore, or whatever that loss looks like. But you also like hold a tremendous amount of grief seeing your friend, partner, whoever that person is, go through the pain they're going through. It hurts physically seeing someone that you care about so deeply in pain, because there's nothing you can do, and it breaks your heart, and it's exhausting.
Oh, totally. That's the hardest thing, I think, like, is knowing that there is nothing that the other person can do. And I think sometimes, like, when you're grieving, you just know that, like, you get a moment of sort of reality where you're like, God, I actually feel really bad for them. Like, I don't know if you felt it with Haz, or, like, the people that you're around all the time. Like, I never put pressure on myself. I think our experiences are very different in this sense, but I kind of just tried to live up to a false expectation because it was lockdown and I was with people and we just partied all the time to try and get my mind off it. And it was the wrong thing to do. But I don't blame anyone because it was the right thing to do in the moment. They didn't want to see me crying. It hurt them to see me so hurt. And they just thought, what's going to make her feel better? Let's just do what we always do. And it worked in the moment. It doesn't work long term. But sometimes, you just kind of, you just want to like take the pain off someone else. And it's such a selfless feeling, like you're going through the worst time of your life, but you're also like, God, I really hope they're okay as well. Yeah,
it is. And I think, like, for anyone, obviously this podcast is about people, how to support someone grieving. Flip it the other way round. For someone who is supporting someone who's grieving, make sure you take time out for yourself as 100%. Well. Really look after yourself, because it is really tiring and it takes a huge emotional toll on you to be looking out for someone in that way. And just, I guess, give yourself a pat on the back, because it's so hard.
You don't know how much the support means to people, because
absolutely,
when we were saying earlier that like you are really just shut off from the world. You don't see that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't see any solution. You don't find comfort in anything. But when you look back in time, you realise, you probably wouldn't have been able to get through half the stuff without the people that were there at the time. So like even the smallest contributions, they just mean everything. So yeah, big up everyone. Yeah.
Just everyone in general.
Everyone. Just big up everyone.
Bin Laden.
Oh yeah. Don't big up him, big down. Jam's behind the camera in absolute disbelief. If we're going to start, we could do a whole list of people
that we do not pick up.
Big down of the week, Donald Trump.
We said we wouldn't get political.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's political to not like Bin Laden. I don't know what the grief element is here.
He's also dead.
He did, yeah. I'm not mourning, though. Anyway.
Side note. We're going to do the Q&A now, because I think we need a little bit of direction. This is what happens when we go off piste.
Cool, so Q&A. Shout out to my mum, because she's done two. And do you know what, Mum? I really rate the ones you've put in. So my mum...
I love how we've just skipped the anonymous element. That's fine.
Oh, my mum will love it.
She wants a shout out.
And also from a woman that's grieving.
Yeah,
My mum lost her husband, so
absolutely.
it's valuable. So my mum gave a pointer. She said, "Don't buy flowers, buy practical things: food, toilet roll, pet food."
Yes,
Big up, Joe.
I love that. I remember when Vince died, like, I had so many flowers and it was lovely, but my house was like a fucking florist for starters. But it was lovely. But the best thing someone got me was my work girls at HGM, big up. They all sent me some ready meals that you just whack in
And
the
they looked
oven.
fantastic.
Whole box of them. Fantastic.
Big up.
Yeah, love that.
My mum also said, don't have sympathy in your voice when you talk to someone grieving. Just be normal. And that's a big one.
Yeah.
I think you could link that to last week's episode with the triggering aspect. I think as soon as someone goes into like, how are you really doing?
Yeah.
That will just make me cry. So
Get her on air.
Yeah.
Come down from Cardiff and sit in the garage.
Sit here now. Right, so moving on to the anonymous element. We've got a question. What's the most thoughtful way someone has checked in, been there for you while grieving?
You go first.
Oh, God.
We should probably read these before we do this.
I quite like that it's spontaneous.
It's a surprise.
I was going to say, do you guys, Jam, give us a nod? I think, oh God, there's been loads, to be honest. There really has been loads. I really appreciate, I am going to say something. Oh my God, do you know what? I don't know. it was so long ago, but also I'm like, it was such, like, our experiences are so different. Like, I've really only just started grieving, I can't lie. So,
You could
I
say
think
more recently,
you,
then.
mate, honestly, I do. I just think you've been really, really great and made me learn loads of nice things about myself.
Stop.
So yeah, I'd probably
That's
say,
really lovely.
yeah, genuinely,
Thank
I'd
you.
probably say just having you as a friend has been great.
God, can't cope.
Should we have a
Thank
shot?
you. Cheers to that, mate. Great friendship.
Yeah. This is a giant baby Guinness mixed together. Go on, Maz.
I think I obviously already spoken about. I'm going to give her a shout out, Alicia Henry. I don't know if she listens to this, but that star thing that she did was
That's really
the most
incredible.
touching thing I've probably ever had in my life. Obviously, you girls. I mean, these girls have been incredible since Vince died. I've worked at their house every day because I could not cope with being on my own for still. To be fair, it's easier now, and now we just enjoy being in each other's company.
Now
but...
she has to come over for work. This one's a mix. It's two of pretty much the same questions. So what level of support is best? What is too much, too little? And would you rather someone check in often or every now and then just in case it's too much?
That question was too much. Can you break it down into small chunks, please?
I'll just go with the short
Friday
version.
afternoon, guys.
What level of support is best? What is too much and what is too little?
Yeah.
Like, would you prefer someone to be checking in all the time or every now and then?
I think when it's very fresh, I don't know, it's very relative to that situation. I think the people, when it was very fresh, like Kat, for example, you guys messaged every day and that gave me huge amounts of comfort. But you didn't say anything in particular, just be like, thinking of you, if you need me, I'm here.
Yeah.
But I think now I'm a bit more down the line. I think people who like check in weekly, monthly, it's lovely. I think just checking in as a whole, it doesn't have to have a certain time parameter. Just showing up and checking in.
I think it's important to note as well that checking in doesn't mean you have to explicitly talk about grief. You don't have to have that uncomfortable conversation. It could be like, oh, I saw Chelsea won at the weekend, which is unlikely. But
shut up, come from an Arsenal girl.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, just little small talk even. That's a nice check-in.
Yeah.
And I'd agree with you on that one, so we can copy and paste that answer, because I do agree. Is it harder to discuss your feelings with someone who hasn't experienced grief?
Good question. I think so.
I agree.
I think I've got like a connection with you, like obviously Hugh as well, and other friends who've lost a parent, but I think you get it. I think, like Jam, for example, you've had your own issues with your own dad. Am I allowed to say that? Fuck, Aaron.
Dad is a very loose.
Yeah, Dad is.
Yeah.
Dad is not what we would associate him with.
No.
But anyway, we'll just have that as the I hate you, Gary section.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's a lot easier to explain how you're feeling with someone who understands on a deeper level. But equally, I just find sometimes when I'm telling friends who haven't been through it, it's like, oh, you just don't get it though. Like, you
Yeah.
don't get it. Anything you say, I know you're trying to comfort me, but you don't understand fully.
I also find that people that haven't grieved before, and this is not me being horrible, I don't actually want people to grieve. Like, please don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I always think that like when you talk to them, it has to have an upsetting sort of vibe about it. Like, I just want to have a normal conversation. I don't want it to be like, oh God, that must be so hard. I'm so sorry. And that's so natural because you feel so bad for the person that's gone through it. But it's all grief. I think grief and sadness, like, they're not exactly as intertwined as some may think. I think that it's more like, it's life now. Let's not make it out like it's some sad part of my life. It's now my whole life. My life has changed forever.
Yeah.
Like, treat me with like a bit of respect and like, let's talk like adults.
Yeah.
We can't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
We don't have to. It's sad, yeah, but also I think it just undermines like how your life changes if you go into it with the same tone every time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So which is why I think that people that are grieving are easier to talk to about it. But equally, some people that learn and really tap into how notice patterns, like if you're really close to someone you'll notice it. I mean, like Jam's brilliant with me, and like if you proper know someone, you tap into it, you can tell the difference, of course, but I mean also the support doesn't become tedious. Almost, you don't want it to become a chore to get support from someone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like that answer.
Thanks.
Well done.
Has experiencing grief changed the way you support people going through grief?
Yeah. Definitely. I did not I didn't get it before. Well, I didn't get it before, straight up. I did not get it before. When you used to speak about your dad, I used to feel immense sadness for you, but I didn't understand the level of sadness you had been through. I just didn't. It opened your eyes to, sounds awful, but the suffering that comes with grief. And now I don't understand exactly, because obviously it's very different with our different experiences, but it's completely changed my perspective on what you've been through, because now I feel like I've been there myself.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it opens your mind to a whole new world that is, something that no one really wants to step foot on, but there's actually a load of people there already. So, yeah, it's tough, but a learning curve that unfortunately everyone goes through at some point. And it's just rubbish when you have to go through it younger, when you're still trying to learn about yourself. So yeah. We'll wrap it up with the last question. What is something you found helpful from people supporting you while you grieve?
Probably the same stuff that we've covered. Checking in, listening, being an active listener.
Big on that.
Yeah.
Big on that. Yeah. Real.
Yeah, because I think there's such a difference, isn't there? People that, like, you can tell when someone's listening and they've already... You can tell, because I find sometimes I do it. Like, I'm trying to bat away the thoughts in my head when someone's telling me, like, a story about work or something, and I'm like, oh, I need to tell them this.
Yeah.
But, like, I have to really focus on what they're saying. But obviously I don't do that when, like, someone's telling me, like, that they're in pain, because that's all I can concentrate on.
Yeah, like, oh
no. Yeah, actually. But no, I think it's really important to show that you're actively listening and, like, just really engaging with them. Like, yeah, I think that goes a long way when you're telling someone the pain you're going through, or whatever relation it is to that loss. Yeah, just to really sit and listen and give them the space that they need to speak about it.
Well, it's a sign of respect, isn't it? And also, like, the things that people are telling you and choosing to tell you, they don't want to have to repeat it. So just listen and really take it in and listen to it as you perceive they want you to receive it, if that made sense. Yeah. Like, they're telling you it for a reason. They're opening up to you for a reason. It's information that you should probably take note of, and,
yeah,
listen.
I think as well, the sister-in-law, I've never called her this before, Kat. Shout out. But she's really good at this. In particular, Kat is really good at knowing particular anniversaries and dates and checking in. Not even just in relation to grief, just like birthdays or like significant things happening in your life. Kat is really on it at remembering when it is and speaking to you on that day. So I think it doesn't always have to be on the day of the death or any milestone in particular, but things like Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthdays, if you know those dates, it doesn't take 2 seconds just to pop something in your calendar to remind you to check in on that person, because it goes a really long way. I did it for your dad when his birthday. I had it in my calendar because I thought I will forget, and I think you've got to.
Yeah, and big up Kat as well, because she's done that for me as well.
Yeah,
so everyone, guys, get on Kat's level. You wouldn't
be more
able
Kat.
Lesson in the loss?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's not a question. That was a question, I suppose.
Yeah.
What's your lesson in loss?
Through.
So,
I'd really. Oh, guys, disclaimer: it's been a really shit week, Hallett Rose. We've had a really,
this
really
is the epitome of why we're doing this podcast, because we're doing it to pour our hearts out. Of we've both had a really shit week.
It's been a terrible week,
and the lesson in loss from me after this week is take every day as it comes.
Yeah.
Don't overcommit to things,
Yep.
because sometimes you just can't do it. And that's part of the reason we're doing this podcast 3 days before it airs, because we have not had the capacity to do it this week, whether it's because we've had a busy schedule or we just both know that we're feeling too heavy.
Or we've been crying on the floor, like...
It happens, trust me. So,
yeah. I feel like my lesson in loss is... lesson in loss is to record on a Monday or Tuesday. No, I think the same as yours in a way, like take each day as it comes. I'm just repeating what you said.
Yeah, Jam, do you just want to cut it back over?
It's a parrot over it.
Yeah.
No, I think you just need to... I guess at the start of the week, I woke up and I had a really, really shit day on Monday, and I was beside myself, really upset. Didn't know how I was going to get through the week. But sometimes when you are crying on the floor and it feels like you can do nothing else, just try and pick yourself up. And what I did was literally just opened the window, gave myself some fresh air, and just took a minute. I think fresh air, I know people are going to be like, oh, everyone, that's what the doctors say about mental health. But honestly, sometimes just taking a breath, and don't get me wrong, it hasn't cured me, but it did help in that moment after I've been crying for all that time. And I was like, right, I need to sort myself out. Open the window, took in fresh air.
It's been a long week, guys.
Yeah.
It's been a really long week. Still 2 days to go.
Yeah, it's the weekend. Woo.
Oh yeah, I work on Sundays anyway.
Fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air. Anyway,
right. Next week we're gonna commit to recording on either Monday or Tuesday, so we've got more time to plan.
Yeah.
Don't feel as rushed. I've got a blooming mortgage advisor appointment in 20 minutes, so
perfect.
Just sums up how busy it's been. And we are going to do an episode on... I've forgotten already.
Different types of grieving. Different feelings of grief. It doesn't always have to be about death.
Yeah.
It's not always bereavement.
Yeah. So we're going to do one on that. And then the week after, we've got some exciting news. We have got a special guest coming to join us. Or to join me.
To join you.
To join me.
Replacing me.
We're kicking Rose out. She's going behind the camera for once.
She's got the boot.
And we have got John Harrison, who is a psychologist, and he's doing a lot of research around Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. So we're going to do a little bit of a more scientific episode.
I love that.
Yeah, and talk about the feelings of losing someone when they're here. So yeah, that should be a really interesting episode. But yeah, thank you for listening today. Sorry if it was a bit rambly and wishy-washy.
I thought it was a good one, guys, let's be real.
Yeah, I'm sure it was alright.
Yeah, it's alright.
But thank you as always for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great weekend. Or Monday.
Better than us.